Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting. All right, so I'm loading some Hornady 68 grain boat tail hollow point match bullets. These did not perform so well when I was using the CFE 223 powder, but this time I will be using Hodgdon's Varget powder, and I have charges between 22.7 and 24.2 grains. The cases have all been sorted according to weight, from lightest to heaviest. The reason you sort by weight is the outside dimension of the cases are all identical. So if there's a difference in weight, that would mean a difference in the thickness in the case wall. And so that would have a bearing on the internal capacity. So when you sort by weight, you assure that the internal capacity of each case is the same, and that adds to consistency. So we will load these up. I will seat these bullets. We'll take them to the range and we will see how they perform. All right, so we have 50 rounds of 223 using Hornady 68 grain boat tail hollow points loaded with Varget powder with charge weights from 22.7 to 24.2 grains. This should produce velocities between 2,500 and 2,700 feet per second. We've loaded these up to 24.2, and 24.9 is the maximum at 2,800 feet per second. But typically, what I have seen is somewhere around the 25 to 2,600 foot per second range. That's where I tend to have my best groupings. So we will take these to the range, let them fly, and see how they perform. In a previous test, I was shooting Hornady's 68 grain boat tail hollow point bullet using CFE 223 powder, and I had charges ranging from 22.5 to 26 grains of powder. And the velocities range from 2,500 to 2867. These were pretty much all over the place with groups 1.37, 157, 179, 113, 122, 131, and at the higher velocities they really spread out. 2.68, here's one at 4.29, 2.77, and 3.48 inches. So I'm going to rerun a similar test, except this time I'm shooting those same 68 grain boat tail hollow point bullets, but I'm using Varget powder, and I have charges ranging from 22.7 grains to 24.2 grains. So here I've stopped at 2,700 feet per second. So we're going to be running velocities between 2,500 and 2,700 feet per second with this Varget powder. And so we will take them to the range and see how they perform. Also, in the interest of time, I have 10 round magazines loaded, and these have already been loaded with the corresponding rounds that correspond to the targets. And this will make the shooting go a little bit faster than having to reload after every group. So we're going to shoot these at 100 yards. You're welcome to enjoy the music while I fast forward through my shooting, or you can skip forward to the results at the end. All right, shooting at 100 yards. I think these perform kind of so-so. So let's bring them in and take a look. Okay, so this appears to be just over an inch. 4 out of 5 at just under an inch overall, probably an inch and a quarter. Pretty spread out here, very spread out here. We had a killer group right here with one flyer and the best 4 out of 5 right inside of the target there. It's about an inch. We shot about an inch here, and then they began to spread out over here. About an inch here, about an inch here, I'm guessing. But it's always interesting to see that as the charge weight increases, they start out shooting somewhat high, and then they begin to shoot lower. As the charge weight increases, that barrel is torquing and they're shooting lower. So we will take these home, measure them, analyze them, and see how we did. There's a link in the description below where I was previously testing this 68 grain boat tail hollow point bullet by Hornady with CFE 223 powder. The results were not very good, and so I decided to run a test with that same bullet, this time using Varget powder with charge weights from 22.7 and a velocity of 2,500 feet per second to a charge weight of 24.2 and 2,700 feet per second. And these are my results. At 22.7 grains and 2,500 feet per second, I initially had a group starting out of 1.09 inches, the second group of 1.41 inches, the best 4 out of 5 at 0.94 and 0.87. Pretty good for hunting, but not for precision shooting. Then at the second charge weight of 23 grains, where I was shooting 2,550 feet per second, we had groups of 1.32 and 1.72. Still okay for hunting, but not precision rifle. Our best 4 out of 5 was at 0.80 and 0.76. That's where I would expect the extreme spread to be. So we increased the charge weight again, and we come to 23.4 grains of powder and 2,600 feet per second. My first group was at 0.94 inches, but look, I had a flyer here, and the best 4 out of 5 grouped at 0.23 inches. That actually amazed me, and it's close to the point of aim because the point of aim is at the bottom of that circle. The second group spread out a little bit, and it shot at 0.65 inches. It's a triangle-shaped group, so the best 4 out of 5 was not much better at 0.64. And when I increased to 23.8, I had extreme spreads of 0.81 and 1.29. Still not where I want to be, and best 4 out of 5 at 0.64 and 1.09. Then when we get to 24.2, we have two groups of 0.80 each, with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.55 and 0.71. So when you go back and average these, I like to do what I call a score. Now, I always look at that best 4 out of 5 because to me, that's an indication of how the rifle shoots. So like here, that's what the rifle is capable of, and that's what I'm capable of with this load. So that's my thinking. So what I do is I average these and I give them a score. Now, I shot two groups at each charge weight, and so what I've done is I have gone across here from the first group to the second group, and I've averaged those two. So we had 109 and 141 averaged together. That gives us an average group size of 1.25. With the best 4 out of 5 at 0.94 and 0.87, that gives us an average best 4 out of 5 at 0.91. And when you average those two together, that gives you a score of 108. And of course, the lower the score, the better. When we move to 23 grains, we average 132 and 172, and we have an extreme spread of 152. Best 4 out of 5 at 0.78. Again, not where we want to be. At 23.8 grains, we're averaging an extreme spread of 81 and 129, and we get an average of 105. The best 4 out of 5, we're averaging 64 and 109, and we get a 0.87. Average those two together, that gives us a score of 96. And then at 24.2, we're averaging 80 and 80, and that gives us an average of 80. Best 4 out of 5, 55 and 71 gives us an average of 63. You average those two together, that gives you a score of 72. So we've got scores of 72, 96, 62, 115, and 108. So where I'm going to focus is right here on 23.4 grains, thereabouts. So I will shoot these again, because this gave me my best results at 0.80 extreme spread, 0.44 best 4 out of 5, and a score of 62. And again, I'm still impressed by how well this group did here. And that's what brought this down and gave it the 0.44 best 4 out of 4 average, was how tight that particular best 4 out of 5 was. So I will load these again with Varget powder, but I'm probably going to work around this number. I'm probably going to start and go 23.1, 23.3, 23.5, and 23.7, because the next group following that wasn't horrible. In fact, we had a best 4 out of 5 at 0.87, so I'm not worried about going a little higher on this charge, but I am going to start low, and this is going to be the middle of the node right here, and we're going to build around that. Maybe we'll go 23.0, 23.2, 23.4, 23.6, 20, well, there's 23.8, and it didn't do so well. So anyway, we're going to expand on this, test them, and see how they perform, and hopefully we can find a node in there that works. So if you have any ideas or thoughts about this video, please feel free to leave a comment below. Or if there's anything that you would like to see in the future, please let me know that. I always try to interact with everyone who comments. And I hope that you will like and share this with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.